It usually takes a few seconds. Okay, we are officially live. So if anyone's watching already, thank you so much for joining us. My name's Jason. If you've seen Survivor Gatlinburg, Surviving South Dakota, you know full well who I am. I want to quickly give a shout out to Live Reality Games for letting us hijack their channel yet again. Nobody was available to come and host for us. So we have Michael, our host, hosting. And so just to let you know, also, sorry that we're a little bit late. We ran into some technical difficulties, which is why you cannot see Maylee, but hopefully that changes pretty soon. But we do have the opportunity to see all of your comments. So if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave comments. We'll see them pop up. We'll show them on the screen. We'll answer any questions you have. So yeah, feel free to engage, and we're just going to talk for a little bit. And with that said, Michael, go ahead and kick us off.
Sure. Thanks, Jason. And like you had mentioned, thank you to Live Reality Games again for hosting us. So grateful for this platform to chat about our favorite thing, Survivor, which has continuously provided entertainment for everyone in the family and friends. When we reconvene and talk about it, there have been endless fights about endless topics months later. So happy to dive back into that again. Great. Well, Kevin, John, May, Jason, thank you all for getting some time to chat about this stuff. Appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you.
So let's dive in. Yeah. So starting off with episode 4, this is coming right off the heels of the last episode, episode 3, which was the drinking challenge. Also, Jason was eliminated that challenge. So leading the blind, very quickly for those who might have forgotten, that was the 3-part relay challenge where contestants were tasked with retrieving, delivering, and solving a puzzle. But for a moment, let's go back to the previous episode, Drink, Drank, Drunk. Many audience members have considered that a major turning point in the game, where the tribes merged, and then the pendulum of power began to swing away from John and Jason. And as Maylee decided to instead align with Petey, that's where the power shifted. So, and this is for anyone, what was that feeling around the camp after Jason's elimination?
I would say it was blissful.
Swinging already.
I'm on the record that John or Jason, they were both just going to be the fiercest competitors. So it didn't really matter which one of them won. The other one was going to be voted out from my thought perspective.
I think camp felt really like dreary, empty, very sad, dark, if you will.
Despair, I think, is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not feeling good at all. That was ugly. I just didn't see it playing out that way. Jason, I didn't expect, our former teammates, we all went in as teammates, and with Eric and Emma too, and they turned on you real quick too, and that was ugly to see. But it would have happened to me too, so it kind of is what it is. That's the name of the game,
I love that.
It is what it is. It is what it is. No, it's not. It is, John. I disagree.
Thanks, May.
I've got some beef with John still. I can't. I don't like him.
I don't like it.
Feeling couldn't be more mutual, May.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
See, this is what I was talking about. Still fighting months later. But I was going to say, Amelia, I love that we now have an avatar so we can at least see what you look like in a photograph.
I know, right? Hashtag prettier sister.
Well, anyways, John, I wanted to kind of follow up on that. Seeing Jason get eliminated, it must have felt like the odds were stacked against you completely, as you no longer had a single competitor to confide in. Did you think at that point, like, oh, well, this is it for me? Or did you think, maybe it's time to switch up how I'm playing the game?
I would say probably no to both. I didn't think, I was going to be, eliminated right away. I just knew I had to win. And the way I was playing at an elite level. I hadn't lost yet. So I didn't want to change any of the ways that I was playing the game. I would think I was playing the right way. But I, in the back of my head, I knew I had to win. And the next challenge that's exactly what happened. me, Edie, and Eric won the challenge, and I knew I was safe at least for another day. So, you know, you just gotta adapt. It's a day by day game. Sometimes an hour by hour, things change so fast. So, luckily, it worked out, and I was happy about it.
Yeah, you mentioned that your temporary team of yourself, Petey, and Eric had won the challenge. Do you think that you would have been the one to go if you had not? Or I know Kevin had mentioned perhaps Eric would have been the person to go.
No, I think it would have been me again. When every single person who voted Jason out tells you, yeah, John, it was going to be you. You know, if you didn't win, like, you know, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to be voted out. So I know, full, you know, without a reasonable doubt, I would have been voted out.
Yeah. Well, May, in shifting your alliance from one direction to the other, you significantly changed the trajectory of the game for everyone. So if you could walk us through the thought process leading up to the paramount decision of writing Jason's name down.
Me?
Yeah, you, Miss. I am not going. What was that like?
Amazing. It felt amazing. I know previous to production and recording, Jason and I had talked about a little bit, like possibly teaming up with John, but screw John, screw Jason, you know, the Jays. I'm just a little shit starter. I'm excited to always do stuff like that and backstab if I can.
Living up to the chaotic, evil placement.
So inspirational.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that was contestant number 6 for Miss America.
Is there a reason that you like targeted me? Because you said over and over again, like, I know you're
scared of you. I'm scared of you.
Okay, well, there's no reason to be scared of me if you're on my side and I'm on yours.
I don't know about that. Nah.
I was never going to do anything to you, and you admit that you know that.
I mean, there's one winner, you know, and I'd really like to take one of the Jays out if I can.
All right, well.
We do have a question that kind of is a nice transition from this conversation, which is from my good friend, Dana. I worked with her at Applebee's. Shout out Applebee's a long time ago. Even though this is a game, has any of the drama, and I wouldn't even put drama in parentheses, everything you see is real. That is not, I can act, but I'm not sure that everyone can. And it's not acting. So carried into everyday friendships and relationships. What do you think of that?
Screw John 2021. Oh, 2022.
I don't think it did. I mean, the drama, we definitely, when we see each other at parties and we, see each other together, it dominates our conversations about, can you believe he did this and that? You said this, that happens all the time, every time we're together. So there's no hard feelings, at least not on my end. At the end of the day, it's just a game. We're having fun. And I mean, that's, I think, the most fun you can have as a family, competing at such a high level like we did. So the drama has definitely carried over, but it hasn't ruined any relationship with anybody. We're all good.
I agree with that fully. I think that it, without a doubt, will always come up in conversation if the group of us are all together again, even some of us. And depending on who is there, I won't name names, the conversation gets a little bit more heated than other times. But at the end of the day, it's always in good fun, and everyone's always friendly with each other before and after, even if it gets a little spicy at the peak of the conversation.
I would say that this is a group of family and friends that like always slam each other in general, and sometimes it's a little meaner than it should be, but it's just like, that's just how we are. And so it's just like, I don't know, it's a perfect family to be a part of, to do something like this, where it's like, I can be really rude about how poorly you played and tell you but we're still friends. Or whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah. So back to the challenge, episode 4, Leading the Blind. Again, that was perhaps the most complicated and layered challenge that we had to date. Where Leading the Blind, it tasked 2 groups to compete a 3-part relay race, like I had mentioned earlier, where competitors were asked to retrieve, deliver, and then solve a puzzle. But what audience members might not realize is how much time, energy, and concentration was invested into getting across the finish line under the blistering sun. So this is for anyone. What might audience members might not consider perhaps when watching the challenge unfold on screen, when it might last just a few minutes, but in reality it lasts about, gosh, maybe an hour or more.
Well, as a puzzle solver, I'm just going to say I've watched quite a bit of Wheel of Fortune in my life, but usually you're able to guess letters along the way. And so when you see 30 blank spots, it's a little intimidating, to be honest with you. So you're hearing yourself and you're reading everything out loud. You're thinking, is it Survivor related? Is it South Dakota related? Is it going to be about Mount Rushmore? You have no idea what it's about to be. And when it comes to the end, it just seems so obvious. But if you feel like you were sitting there for 15 minutes just looking at a dry erase board, wondering, why am I in this spot right now? This is not where I should be. I should have just ran instead.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, you and Katie had the hardest jobs, no question. I thought.
I have a strong stance against cardio, and so I'll always think that is the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Worst fear is running a 5K on Thanksgiving morning, but the puzzle, it didn't make me feel good knowing I was the anchor, that if I didn't get it first, it didn't matter what anyone did before me.
Sarah asks, what's worse, the puzzle or Wordle? For anyone who might not be playing, Wordle is a daily word game where you have to guess a 5-letter word, but that's pretty funny. So Kevin, actually, to my memory, there has never been a challenge that has come down to such a close photo finish. So Kevin, what was going through your mind as it was announced that the other team had won? Even though in your confessional you said that the other team needed to lose so that you could execute your plan to eliminate Eric. What was going through your mind? Initially,
what went through my mind is a lot of words I can't say out loud right now. After that, though, we had a plan for a few people to exit, and it did work out so well that they were split in 2 teams. So no matter what happened, you did feel okay with the conclusion, technically. It wasn't overbearing. But there was one person nominated against another, and the team that won had the person that was 1 tick higher, from my memory at least, that we discussed. So I guess they didn't really need to lose, but I think it would have been more convenient.
Yeah.
We have a quick question for John that I don't want to ignore. I know.
Yeah. Chris asks, did John get checked for a concussion after that collision with Me Lee?
No, I should have been.
And I would do it again.
The only one who seemed overly concerned was Kendra. So shout out to her. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, that segues nice into the question you asked. Is there things that the audience didn't consider? And I don't think they would consider what it feels like to be hit by the Asian Usain Bolt. I think
Whoa,
flipping at about 20, 21 miles per hour, and she hit me real good. But no, luckily everything was fine. I got right back up after about, 30 seconds or so. But it was a good hit. She got me good. So
yeah, watching that playback is never easy. It's like watching your spine get compressed.
Yeah, it did not feel good.
Yeah. Well, Jason, following in elimination, you kind of lose a level of insight into the turning tides of the game as you're no longer a competitor. But when you transition into that jury, you kind of lose sight into the whispers that might be happening at camp. Was it shocking to see John survive yet another day from an outsider's perspective when just the day prior, it looked like he was kind of backed into a corner and on his way out after your elimination?
Yes. 1 second. We're going to have a surprise guest, I think. So my thoughts there. Obviously, at number 1, I was very happy to see John go further because when I was eliminated, there was no one I wanted to win more than John. Eric's here. Surprise! We didn't know if he was available.
Hey, Eric. Hi, everybody.
He has a face.
Welcome.
I exist.
Cool. So I was happy that didn't happen to him, but I was also like a little bit annoyed because I'm like, okay, they named me and John as the targets from day one. They got rid of one and they said how interchangeable we were. And now, okay, they got rid of me. They had every opportunity to get rid of him. So what the hell happened? Like, why was I targeted? And then he's just able to walk now. So, I mean, good for you, John. So happy it ended up the way it is so that we could get back together in the end. But yeah, it was like, okay, well, fuck me.
Yeah, fair enough. Eric, thank you for joining. For those who
Absolutely.
might not recognize immediately, Eric was another one of the competitors in the season of Surviving South Dakota. Eric, thank you for joining. So let's head into episode 5, titled What a Know-It-All. Again, a reminder for the audience quickly, that is the challenge where everyone had to answer trivia questions individually, and our jury acted as a collective unit answering those same questions. And it was a face-off that ultimately led to another very close finish, but we'll get in that in just a moment. So firstly, I wanted to ask the group, although the blood pearl, which was Emma's, was never used, was its presence alone impactful on the turn of events in the game? Would you say perhaps an advantage for her, or maybe even a disadvantage?
Disadvantage.
Yeah, hands down, disadvantage.
That dominated our conversations, because it's not just 2 votes with Emma. You got to assume it's 3, when you include Eric in that too. So, I mean, early on in the game, that's all we talked about was the blood pearl,
Yep.
And how to isolate that.
There's not a lot of material to send people home in the beginning, and that kind of swung the pendulum, I think, for a lot of conversations. It's a really easy thing to agree upon.
Yeah.
This is a valuable thing. This person has twice as many votes. This person can decide much more than I can.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely.
That was part of early conversations for John and I, and Maylee too, even though she wasn't seen in that scene, was like, okay, if we do end up in the situation where we have an elimination on our tribe, who are we going for? We're going to go for Emma because she has that double vote, and we knew that she would side with Eric. And I know that it looked like we had a divide on our tribe, but we were like, okay, but what happens if? And so I think there was that, but also like Petey, who's not in here right now, has said, like, the only reason I voted for her when she got eliminated was because of the blood pearl in her pocket. So
I mean, can we really trust his word? He's probably just trying to save face. Yeah, I definitely took the obvious route everyone else took. See all of the other dead bodies.
So yeah, I think it was a detriment, honestly. It could have been great if used at the right opportunity. I think you want to get it as far as you can, but realistically, you can't get it super far. So it's like, use it pretty soon, or you're going to get eliminated for having it, and it will have no effect.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like a ticking time bomb where if you hold on to it too long, it's going to explode in your hands. But if you throw it, it might be pretty effective for you. Before we get too far, I see a comment here. Jason, if you could pin it. Someone asks, I believe Dustin, I was wondering if May could tackle someone besides John. Who would it be? Mealy, do you have any insight on that?
Well, I would love to tackle John again, but it's
Knew that was
unfortunate.
So much hostility.
I don't want to get hurt, so I'm gonna go with Emma.
Oh my gosh.
Again.
If I had like potential to actually tackle Jason, I would. No, wait, that's a trick question. I want to tackle you, Michael.
Me? You don't get anything out of it.
Security.
That would have been
Yeah,
fun.
security. Love that. Well, Mealy, I actually have a question for you. Prior to the beginning of the trivia battle, a conversation takes place between yourself, Kevin, and John about the fake idol that you had found, which was planted by John. Kudos, by the way, to John for having an Oscar-worthy performance, acting surprised by May sharing that she found that fake idol. But May,
I know.
what was your thought process behind sharing your discovery of that fake idol, not knowing to John and Kevin?
I was very much overconfident. I think I was just very excited because it took so long for everyone to get idols, and I know the previous season it was really difficult as well for everyone to get those idols, and since they're so limited and everyone's looking for them, it was just, I just got ahead of myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love
And
that. Thanks,
yeah.
John. Really convinced us all.
He did. I was not expecting how realistic that was at all. I checked through the Amazon
Practice
orders.
makes perfect, you know?
Well, yeah. Just a liar. John's just a liar, I guess.
It was the same ones from Gatlinburg, so there was really no reason for you to think that that was fake. Which was,
Especially with the note inside.
right.
Yep, especially with the note too.
Right.
I mean, you could have
Not
given me a
only
dirty
did-
pest dispenser and I would have thought it was an idol. So
Yeah. Not only did John have a very convincing fake idol in that it was the exact same one from the previous season, he put that fake idol inside of the bag that I had provided with the real idol and the note that was associated with it. So it even had another layer of convincing complexity. But Kevin, curious, one could argue that you probably mastered the art of flying under the radar. Were you an integral part behind the scenes for many of those game-changing decisions that seemingly were led by Petey, or were you truly just kind of going with the flow?
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for it. Unfortunately, it was all Petey's strategy and tactician on his side. I really did just kind of wake up in the morning. I would meditate a little bit, think about my day, and then he would just kind of feed me the info that I needed to know. And that's what kind of built up on me every day, though. Every day I would go out there and I just kept being told what to do, and I just kept following it. And after a while, you want to start thinking for yourself. And so toward the end, there's some quotes about Petey saying that I was a little short in the mornings and whatnot. And well, whereas that was true, it was because I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I can't just roll out of bed and be told I'm supposed to do this, because what if you turn on me today? I understand I was not very well rounded. I was a successful 0 for 5 in events, 0 for 6 if you count the intro night campfire event.
good
So
record.
I was not winning for myself by any means, but nobody wants to see someone who's 0 for 5, 0 for 6 going further and further either. That's as sad as the scout leader from Pearl Island Survivor season making it toward the end. So I didn't want to have that kind of personality kind of tied to me. So whereas I was a little short, it was only for that reason. But yeah, I didn't really make my own strategy. I had plenty of times where I could have taken my own route, though. We discussed just a moment ago the Blood Pearl. Even though I agreed to vote one of Eric or Emma out, at the last moment I was always playing, getting them on my side and saying, let's use this Blood Pearl and let's vote against Mei Lee, because I had heard that she had an idol before that. And that seemed like a good opportunity to take an idol out of the game and also take the Blood Pearl out of the game and eliminate 2 threats at once. But the whole time I felt like there were eyes on me. Like I could see PD 100 feet away staring me through a wooden wall. And then I was always like next to John or Mei Lee. And if they heard me plotting, I didn't want to get on the wrong sides, because no matter what, whoever you vote out is going to be on the jury. And you always have to be conscious of your decisions. So did I have opportunity? Yes. Did I seize on them? No.
Would you do it differently in the third season?
I definitely would have a different approach.
Interesting. Sounds like you've given it a little bit of thought of maybe what you would do in a third season.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. So prior to the trivia battle for this challenge, John has a one-on-one conversation with Petey where they both agree to take each other to the final 2. John, did Jason's return change that agreement for you, or did you never really intend to stay true to Petey in the first place?
I think both of our intentions were good at the time. Yeah, it's just a different game when Jason's back. I didn't anticipate him being back necessarily. I thought it was a possibility, but like I said, I'm still backed into a corner. I have to make friends with somebody. I have nobody. So luckily Petey was receptive to that, and yeah, we made a little bit of a deal. However, when Jason came back, Jason approached me and he's like, hey, what do you want to do? I'm like, listen, I really can't make a decision right now, because things are kind of going good with me and Petey and May at the moment. So I got to sleep on it. I don't know what I'm going to do. But But yeah, I mean, I got to think what's it going to look like in the final three. So let's say you have Petey's got that decision to bring myself or Mei Lee to the final two. Well, Mei Lee already burned every bridge she had. I mean, it's realistic. She doesn't get a single vote at a final. You know what I mean? At least if he brings me, there's a little bit of doubt there that you might not win. You will absolutely win against Mei Lee. So I think Petey, if he was faced with that decision, I think he would not bring me to the final two. Mm-hmm. So that's just my opinion. And that would be my thought going in as well. I'm like, I know I'll win against Mei. I will not win against Petey.
Mei, how does that feel hearing that?
As a woman, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, I understand it. I'm here for the drama though. I'm also here to win, but drama comes first, I suppose, in my head, and I really enjoyed myself. So even if I didn't get a single vote, at least I screwed over a lot of people and changed up the show a bit.
Really, I actually love that. I love that you take ownership over that, saying, F everything else. I'm going to have
to take ownership of bad strategy.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's good TV.
Embrace the fact you won't win.
Before we move on, again from Dana, this is moving back to episode 3, but I would love to hear what Michael has to say for himself.
Yeah, please let the psychopath speak.
Sure, yeah. Who is the psychopath behind the Cup of Malort idea? That was me. Megan, I think I hear you laughing. Correct me if I'm mistaken. I'm not sure if I came prepared with that idea or if we collaborated on that one together, but I'm pretty sure I knew from the beginning that Bitter would be Malort.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was you. But it was kind of a joint effort. We were scrambling in Vinny's trying to find Malort.
What a terrific outcome.
Yes, we almost didn't find it, but production, Kendra, she came in clutch and decided to ask one of the workers where it was. Yeah.
One battle.
Yes.
I would say about that, and there are a lot of fun things. I've seen all of the footage over and over and over. So I'm pretty proud of this one. So I come back from throwing up, and somebody, I think Kendra, says, "So Jason, how do you feel?" And I literally drunkenly am like, I feel that I know damn well that in season 1, Petey was required to try everything that he was feeding us at the eating challenge, and I know you did not. Try this more. And he goes, I didn't.
That's right.
I've heard this 10 times. I agree, but
And to Jason, I said, if you win the first season, you get to make up your own rules for the second season. So there it is. But anyway.
And we have
Malort was the easiest, man.
Okay, yeah, continue.
To say Malort is the easiest, I think would catch several people by surprise.
The syrup was I don't understand how people willingly and just did that one. That's the worst one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna suffocate
in
syrup.
It was disgusting. It pulled back out of my throat. The whole thing was just a no. I don't know why people. Give me Malort. Give me an entire bottle of Malort over the syrup twice. I swear.
Oh. Well,
we were all real buzzed after that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit. I vomited it instantly, but it still affects you.
So back to challenge 5. That's the trivia challenge. Again, I'll just briefly recap that. So everyone was acting individually against the jury, who was acting as a collective unit, answering trivia questions. So as a consequence for losing the trivia battle against the jury, the remaining survivors were faced with back-to-back eliminations, ultimately sending out Eric, then Kevin. What was the feeling casting those votes without an opportunity to plot with your allies, not once, but twice? As that vote did take place immediately after the challenge.
Well, I think Eric was the only vote that we did know was going to happen after the previous episode, getting rid of Emma. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough foresight to realize what would happen after it.
Well, that was the issue. That's why I'm in the background yelling at you.
It's because I was short that morning. Bad morning.
Short sight, man.
That's all.
Yeah, I was talking to all my allies before the vote as well. You could see it in the votes.
That was the most stressful part of Survivor for me, the double vote.
Why? The outcome was certain and in your favor. What was stressful
Well,
about that?
what was certain, Eric, was that you were going home.
Yeah, no, it's understood. Well done. Signed
But-
off.
Sorry, but I didn't know that second vote was coming. None of us did.
Oh
And
no!
I really
I'm so
wanted.
sorry.
I really
Possibility?
wanted. I really
That's
wanted
frightening.
and Mei Lee again, and see what was going to be the play. I'm sitting there with a hidden immunity idol, not knowing if I should hold this or not. And I really wanted to hold that another round.
No, I get it. What, you could have 2 Jaguars. Why have 1? I totally understand. Drive off the lot.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, can I get home today? Like,
Yeah.
does the bike work?
Yeah, it was stressful. I really needed to talk to, like I said, PD and May, and it didn't happen. Luckily, it somehow worked out.
So PD and May were your allies.
At that time, yes. Yeah.
What about you, Kevin? What was going through your mind?
Well, I'm going to first off say that the day before it, there is some footage before I was voted out of you guys were just talking about idols in front of me. But we also had conversation then that got cut out about who we would really align with moving forward and what opportunities that we might want to take on our paths. And so I did bring up, I'm willing to get rid of PD. I became a villain at that moment that no one had to see. And I was willing to take out a stronger one if you wanted to keep someone who kept losing on your side a little longer. I had to take that cowardly route. But, well, I got to make a choice, so good for me. But so that next day then, when we made that vote, I got to see for a fact if it would turn out. Because, I mean, on the car ride in, John said he wanted me and PD on the team. In that moment there, John said, sure, me and Melia on your side. I'm like, I'm getting all the opportunities to see what John is all about right now. And I just, and I think there was after episode 1 or 2, I think you came to me a little desperately once asking for me to be on your side. And I think there's some confessional about really you plotting against me. So really, I gave you 3 opportunities probably. And so I'm talking to John.
Just making sure. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like some pass. Yeah, cool.
Eric, were you even in the game?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, if John talked to you and PD before the game started saying we'll get a team, and then John, Melee, and PD as well, and then there were so many alliances. I mean, I could have had 5 blood pearls, and it was boiled.
I would like to clear that up about the conversation in the car. There was a little bit of a alliance talk going on, and we said if we somehow ended up on the same team, then that would work out. Didn't say anything about if you had to pick your teams, and I mean, I did pick my team and we won everything. So I mean, like, it's hard to argue.
Decimated them.
If we ended up on the same team, sure, yeah, we would have stuck together. But when it comes to picking, I think it's a little different.
Yeah, totally understandable. So after yet another challenge with a very close finish, there was a 4-way tie. The trivia battle results in the jury's win and the determination of bringing Jason back into the game by the votes of his fellow jurors. So Jason, I'm curious, after feelings of triumph have subsided, what were your thoughts having just returned to the game?
At that point, you really have nothing to lose. I knew, I don't really recall, and maybe this is just like, I don't know, hindsight bias, but I don't really recall ever really being nervous about it, because it's like, what do I have to lose? I've already been eliminated, so the worst thing that happens is that I get eliminated again. But also, like, I came damn close to winning the 3rd challenge. I was on the winning team for the 1st and 2nd challenges, and then I'm up against, John, who I'm fairly confident I can get back on my side, and then Melee and Petey, who've won hardly anything. So it's like, all right, well, we have another challenge coming up. I can probably get John on my side, and then he or I will win it. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't skip a beat. As soon as I was pulled back in, I was having a conversation with Mei Lee. You saw how that went. And as soon as that conversation ended, I went to John's cabin. And so it was like, maybe 10 minutes of catching up. And then it was like, I'm back on the beat. And guess what happened? We sent Mei Lee home.
Yes. So yes, let's talk about episode 6. That's titled Forgive But Never Forget. So, in the opening confessionals of that challenge, episode 6, Petey shares there were feelings of mistrust, Kevin, you were speaking to earlier, that were building within your lines, which came to a head at the second surprise vote from that previous challenge. So, what was going through your mind as you began to write down Petey's name when you were voting?
I just walked up there and I put a lot of trust in John and Maylee because I knew that if they didn't follow me, I was probably going to be the goner anyway. And I wanted to make sure I got one shot in at Petey just because I could. I'd feel a lot worse leaving the game and never voting him at least once. That's just a rivalry thing that we personally have together. But I mean, I looked into it and I said, well, this game is probably going to be like every other reality series I've ever seen. It's going to be, we actually started as rookies versus veterans. There's always going to be a stigma, though no one will say it out loud, that veterans like to stick together. It could be two teams merging. It could just be new season versus old season. It could be just family versus newcomers. And so I didn't feel like I had a very high percentage chance. And so at that point, my vote just kind of felt like a joke, if not the exact way I tried to play it out the night before. And so I walked up there just saying, well, just throw my shot up, see what happens. But I didn't feel like the votes were going toward anyone else, just outside the two that I said.
Right. Yeah, completely understandable. And I see a comment from Chris that we will get to. That's actually one of the topics that I want to discuss. So, Jason, remind me to have that question or pinned.
Play on words.
So, actually, Jason, I have a question for you. Petey and May were perfectly clear in their intentions to send you packing yet again, if given the opportunity. Did you think that you had an easy shot to the final three, or was there perhaps mounting pressure leading into that memory challenge?
I mean, I feel like I kind of answered that with my last answer too. Like I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I get sent home again, but I feel pretty confident going into like every challenge. You never know what it's going to be, but in general, I feel like I performed like pretty well. Maybe not winning every time, but going into that, I had conversations with John. We had come to an agreement and we had a plan moving forward. And so it was kind of a 50-50 shot. I think going into the challenge, I was like, okay, all good. When you said what the challenge was, I was like, oh shit, because Mei Lee, for those that don't know her very well, does stuff like this just for fun. And I was like, she is going to kill everybody. And she got very close to doing that. And so at that point, I was a little bit worried, but when she was out, smooth sailing a little bit.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of the challenge, and we can pin this comment here, some viewers believe this memory challenge was a walk in the park at first seeing how it was going to be played out. Having not, though, taken a single gem from anyone else, was Petey's Swiss cheese brain all for show, or was it actually difficult to play that one out? Were there strategies for remembering your cards? What was that like? And this is to anyone.
Yeah, I can go. So what I was doing when the cards were called was I was remembering the like card like number or like king, queen, whatever in my head, and I was repeating them over and over on a loop as they were being called. And I was using my hands, which were under the table, to track patterns in the colors and suits. And so like I would put my hand this way and make it a point if it was a spade, because they're pointing at the top. I would put my hand this way at a point if it was a heart, because they're pointing at the bottom. And then I would do like make patterns for the colors of the cards with my fingers. So like I would tuck some in and leave other ones out. And so that was my strategy. It didn't work out every single time because that's not a perfect method. I mean, there's no way to really track like clubs or diamonds exactly, but it worked pretty well.
John or May, what about you guys?
As you could probably guess, I didn't really have a strategy at all. I actually wasn't. I really didn't want to win any rounds because I didn't want to be put in an uncomfortable position where I had to take either Jason or Petey's team. So when I won that round, I couldn't believe it because I wasn't really. giving it my all. I was just having fun and, kind of chilling. I knew, the only one who was really going to take my pieces, I think, was Mei Li. I think he was out. So I was just kind of messing around. And then I won a round and I'm like, oh, no. Then I panicked and I took Petey's. Jason only had one left. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get Jason that and I'm going to ruin this alliance if I knock him out of the game. And then I, just panicked and took Petey's. It was probably a dumb move on my part, but I got Petey all mad at me. But yeah, I didn't have much of a strategy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Nate, what about you? Was there a strategy behind picking your cards? Because at first it was pretty much just head-to-head against Jason.
I had absolutely no plan, I guess, going in. Memorizing these cards, just focused on the numbers, to be in the moment, see what I could do. And
Just
unfortunately, I
Mace
just wasn't
commentary.
in the moment, I guess. Yeah.
Just remember it. As simple as that.
I really tried. Yeah. I don't know. Just screw John for doing that to me. He did me real dirty twice, 3 times. I just never trust John.
I didn't take any
Never
of your
trust
pieces.
John. If John was an animal, he'd be a snake. Simple as that.
Oh,
There's 9 snakes in this game, man.
Nah.
No, but one thing that I did notice about your strategy, May, when I was editing, is that you were laying out the cards, no matter what suit they were, for the numbers, and then you were switching them out, like whatever card you found first, you would set down, and then you would switch it out for the correct suit.
Wow.
And I was really shocked that you did as well as you did with that, because I know that would have really confused. So, like,
Yeah. I think it would have been much easier with 4 cards. I think an extra card, honestly. I don't know why. It sounds silly, but there's 4 suits. It'd be easier to keep track of those, but when you have like a repeated suit, kind of, it just got more frustrating. And I'm young. I'm supposed to know these things and be on top of my game, but I wasn't doing
You do
that.
literally have the best brain at that point because you're so much younger.
I mean, yeah. My cognitive function might be a little impaired.
It should have been high. It should have been much higher.
Yeah, it should have been. But I mean, hey, online school, Zoom, I'm gonna blame it on that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, watching that challenge was frustrating because I very much expected Mei Li to crush. And she started off really strong, and I think Jason had the best memory technique, hands down. And I said that to Jason after the fact, that using hands and just incorporating other memory tools it significantly improves your retention. And he was the only one that was using it, and that showed. He had the most consistent answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kevin, how do you think you would have done?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, Kevin, how do you think you would have done?
Sorry for that.
I thought you were talking to me, and then I was like, but he said Kevin.
No, sorry.
It's funny. I'm rating PD say a Swiss cheese brain, and here I have it myself right now. Yeah, it would not have gone well. I guarantee. I really just enjoyed watching everyone's misery, but not having to accept the fact that it would have happened to me at the exact time. I don't think I would have put together that I could do numbers out loud and then do like just little things with my hands to get a rhythm on it. I would only be able to remember. I would just guarantee the first card and then say, here we go for the rest. And just maybe like no one got the rest, you know?
I jokingly say Swiss brain. Like, I give him a hard time, but truthfully, I don't know that I would have done much better than PD or anyone else did, because that challenge was difficult. There were times where some people might have gotten all 5 correct, where there were multiple people who got it correct, and we would have to go into a second round of 5 before we determined who was going to take a gem in that round. So it got lengthy, and it was very difficult to remember. So I was super, super impressed.
We can circle back to the question from Chris, if it's applicable. I don't know if we like really answered this specifically. But
yes, that was the comment that I was talking about. So segueing into the challenge of the game, but why was it so hard to keep all those 5 cards in your memory? Well, I think personally, just as the person who was setting it up, being able to remember the number and the suit and then the order in which that you remembered them, I think it just makes it more and more complex on top of each other. But what does everyone think?
Combinatorics, man.
What'd you say?
I mean, it's 10 things that you're memorizing. It's 5 cards, but you're remembering 5 numbers, and then you're remembering 5 like basically shapes or like suits, whatever.
I think it's 5 factorial, which would be like 60 or something. What is that? It's a lot. Yeah, no, it's 120 opportunities, 120 possibilities.
Wow.
And so like while I did like fairly well in every not every round, but in most rounds, like there were some, and you might not have noticed because like we started going really quickly as we got through the challenge because it was getting long. There was one that I got out on like second card, and so it's like you really hard to even remember 2 sometimes.
Right. So the final tribal council with the final 4 survivors was the last opportunity for anyone to use their hidden item. And May, I'm looking at you for this one. With all the talk of hidden immunity idols floating around camp throughout the season, did you ever suspect, maybe for a moment, that the idol that you had found might be counterfeit? Was that ever a possibility?
No, I honestly, it just went right over me. I think I was just in my own little bubble trying to fuck shit up, and I ended up being the one who got fucked over. Rip.
Yeah. And sadly, then that led to your elimination and our final 3, Jason, John, and Petey. So congratulations to our current top 3. Super, super excited for the finale to air this coming Thursday, a week from today at 8 o'clock Central. And this is to the group, without spoiling, of course. What can the viewers look forward to about the finale of this season?
I get ready for people to be called out.
Yeah. Pretty similar to that. Like I was gonna say, I think you're gonna see all the drama of the season, which was authentic, come to a head. Like anything that you saw play out is gonna be revisited. And I remember Tribal Council being great, but when I rewatched the footage, I was like, oh, it's better than I remember. So it's gonna be great. High note. Like I feel like we've been climbing the mountain the entire time, and it's not going to stop until it's over.
Yeah, I feel like when you're voted out, you just have to walk away, and your confessional is kind of limited. So you really get a chance to open up about your compartmentalized feelings, and you just get some time, you know.
This
You just get
therapy?
some time to let it out.
Jason, if you could pin this comment, we're seeing Kevin in season 3.
Yes.
Right?
There's one. There is another question after this.
What do you think, Kevin?
Well, should the offer be right, and we would have to talk to my agents, and there's a few things to kind of go through. I mean, this season I had a very lucrative offer to go to Disney World, and instead I decided to just go through torments of Malort and losing in hot weather and too many flasks to count. So
That's
I'm
pretty
gonna have
accurate.
to weigh my options here, to be honest. But it's always on the board. You don't vote anything off yet.
I'll have my people call your people.
And the next question from Lucy. Any hints on where season 3 will take place? Michael, I don't know if you have anything you want to say, but one thing that I would say is that I know we said this after the first season where we were like, we're not doing it again. And then it was a big surprise. We are taking 2022 off regardless. Luckily, we're still airing, so you have some in 2022. There is a big event happening at the end of the year where actually the entire cast will have to go. And so we don't have room for a summer vacation to film. So there won't be a season 3 yet for a bit, if ever, but we're constantly talking about it. So we'll see. And there are no promises on anything or hints on where it will be because we don't know.
Yep, just to echo that. And, you know, it's really difficult to plan these. A lot of time, effort, and even money goes into making this happen. So it's a really complicated thing to even plan. It took me months right after work and until I went to sleep just getting things prepared. And Jason is working every single day after he works to finish these episodes and get them on air in time. So It's really tough. We are certainly with 100% confidence taking 2022 off, so you do not need to expect anything coming soon, but we're thinking about it, and that's, I think, all we can say right now.
We do want pictures of this event, FYI. There will be photos, absolutely. Chris asked where he can send his audition tape. I have had a lot of people reach out, people that we know, people that I have never heard of that are across the country being like, so how do I join? Which is so exciting. So, I mean, it says so much about like this little tiny thing that we turned into like kind of a big thing. I'm glad that everyone's enjoying it. I think that it makes all of us happy. We're not accepting audition tapes for now, but we'll let you know. You'll be the first to know. And there's another option out there, LRG Casting. This is Dustin from Live Reality Games, whose platform we are using right now. They do cast a whole bunch of other shows. So if you're interested in the immediate interim, how about that? He says, congrats on being a new dad, John. I did want to give you a shout out for you have like a 2-week-old and you took out some time to come join us. So thank you.
Sure did. He's been sleeping the whole time. So that's awesome.
Great.
Love
She won't sleep all night. Love it.
So, thanks, Judy. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
All right. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up? I'm going to play the next trailer for the next episode for you. If not, so that we can tee you off for
1 second, Jason. Just want to say thank you again to Jason, Kevin, John, Eric, May for showing up. Thank you to Live Reality Games for giving us this platform. We are very grateful for it. We are so excited for everyone to watch the finale of Surviving South Dakota, our second installment that is taking place a week from today, 8 o'clock Central. Tune in for the juiciest episode that we have in store. You are going to love every second of it. It has been an absolute pleasure being able to participate and see this whole season come to fruition. So tune in. It's amazing. And Jason, that's all I had to say.
Yeah. So I think that's probably about a wrap. Dustin did say, I do think season 3, Family versus Strangers, ... thoughts. I think that's really fun. We'll see what happens.
I don't have a family after this. I'll be on the winning side, strangers.
Love that. Yeah, but tune in next Thursday at 8. We will be airing the finale, and we will also have more events in the future with Live Reality Games, more recaps, more opportunities for everyone to ask questions, whatever you're curious about. Anything else to add, anyone? If not, I'll let the music play.
No hard feelings, guys. Love you all.
No, this was a great game. Nothing else.
Yeah, good time.
Goodbye. There's more to see. All right.
Next time on Surviving South Dakota.
A questionnaire withstood, carried a bit of wood, you might have gotten wet, took drinks you won't forget, had a relay session, answered a few questions, asked to pull a card. All this has been hard. Now a test of will and a bit of skill will see you through the final 2.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. We will see you real soon.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.